Yes. Yes. Yes, I have a marriage license certificate with the year of 2004 being the year my marriage license certificate has, because the date of my marriage license certificate I don't know when the date of my marriage with the date was of getting married. I have a marriage license certificate with the date of 2004 is evidence of doing the job of being a husband. And yes, I have a yes. Okay. Yes, I have a tribe. Yes. Can I tell you? Okay. I have a tribe of not having sex outside of the identity of what my marriage license certificate says my marriage is. What does marriage mean? What my tribe teaches me of what marriage is, when I was taught of my tribe, a boy meets a girl. And I'm not specifically talking about anyone. So, there's no way of being mad at me for telling you what my tribe taught me. Being a witness of what my tribe taught me is what I'm telling you. They say a boy meets a girl, and then the girl would say yes or no for being married. Then, if one of the couple, they say a couple is one person and one person. both people makes a couple. And they say if one of the couple says no and goes somewhere else, and became attached to some contract or a non-disclosure act or some bad group, then it's not my fault. And since being a mental health patient myself, since I was in elementary school, a lot of doctors, you know, said stuff about my mental health when I was in elementary school. And when I was in middle school, a lot of doctors said stuff about my mental health. And when I was in high school, a lot of doctors said stuff about my mental health. And since being grown, I was in a mental health court in the year of 2017, 2016. 2016, I was in a Central State Hospital, a mental health hospital. And in 2017, I was in a mental health court. And in 2018, I was in the mental health court. And I graduated from a mental health court in 2019. So, you know, a lot of doctors, a lot of years said stuff about my mental health. So, you know, what I was taught from my tribe, speaking of me, myself, so there's no way of being mad at me because I never signed a non-disclosure act, and I never signed a contract or because being a mental health patient, they say I am not allowed signing a non-disclosure act or a contract because evidence would be needed of a lawyer or attorney or doctor saying what those words mean, because a mental health patient having evidence of being a mental health patient since elementary school, middle school, high school, and grown, they say evidence of being a mental health patient in elementary school, it would mean there's no way of having contracts or non-disclosure acts of me because of being a mental health patient, you know. And what they say it means is, if a person claimed having a non-disclosure act or a contract, but was not a mental health patient, before the contract was signed, or before the non-disclosure act was signed, or before whatever it was signed, then the person who was not a mental health patient before the contract was signed would not have a way out of the contract or the non-disclosure act or any of those types of situations because of not having evidence of being a mental health patient before signing up for those types of situations. And the reason why I'm saying this is because when you were saying, what does being married mean? I have a marriage license certificate, and I am a mental health patient. One of the types of having evidence of being a mental health patient since elementary school. A lot of doctors since elementary school spoke of my mental health. And when I was in middle school, high school, and since being grown, you know. And when I was in elementary school, middle school, and high school, you know, I never had sex, you know, because I never had sex with anyone outside of the identity of what my marriage license certificate says my marriage is. Speaking of myself, you know, so there's no way of anyone being mad at me for speaking of myself, you know. And my marriage license certificate has the year of 2004. My marriage license certificate has the year of 2004 as evidence of a marriage license certificate, because being a mental health patient, the date of getting married since being a mental health patient, it's stuff wrong with my head and my brain from being abused since being a child. I forget a lot, and I don't know what the date was of getting married, which is why my marriage license certificate has a date of 2004 as evidence of being married. as evidence of being a husband, doing the job of being a husband. And you know what I mean by doing the job of being a husband means never having sex outside of the identity of what my marriage license certificate says my marriage is. And they say having sex means going all the way. And could be the cause of a pregnancy and a child being born. And they say I have offspring born after the date of my marriage. Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, because my tribe of not having sex outside of the identity of what my marriage license certificate says my marriage is means the same tribe of when offspring is born, offspring is born after the date of the marriage license certificate is what my tribe teaches being my tribe's way of offspring being born after the date of marriage, meaning after the date of evidence of a marriage license certificate. Yes. Okay. Yes. Of being married. Yes. I think I was telling you before, they say the start of meeting a person according to the teachings of my tribe taught to me. So there's no way of being mad at me for being a witness of telling you what my tribe taught to me. It means one person meets one person and both can be a couple. My tribe teaches the girl says she wants marriage with her own husband being his property, is what my tribe teaches. And there's no way of being married if she herself does not say she is the property of her husband. And if she does not say she wants marriage with him, according to what my tribe teaches me. So there's no way of being mad at me for being a witness of the teachings taught to me from my tribe. And the reason why they say my tribe is taught such a way is because there would be no way of accusing your own husband of sexually abusing you, you know, if him as a husband has evidence of you claiming being his property and evidence of you claiming wanting a marriage with him and being a couple, meaning anytime he's interested in having sex with you, you already said yes. And it's the same way for him, because fair is fair. He would say the same thing. Speaking of the wife of his own marriage, you know, he would be the property of her the same way she would be the property of him. So there would be no way of him accusing her of sexually abusing him, because if the evidence shows the marriage paper of the husband and the wife claiming being each other's property, then there's no way of being mad at the wife for being the property of her own husband, and there's no way of being mad at the husband for being the property of his own wife. And what it means, according to what my tribe teaches me, is my tribe does not believe in buying brides or husbands, or selling brides or husbands, or leasing brides or husbands, or loaning brides or husbands. If it is a sale or a lease or a loan or a trade or borrowing, it is not my tribe, and I am not part of it, you know, because my tribe teaches there is no such thing as leasing a husband or a wife, loaning a husband or a wife, borrowing a husband or a wife, buying a husband or a wife, or selling for sale a husband or a wife. They say a husband is a gift from God for his own wife, not for God's own wife. No. They say, you know, no. They say no. Because, you know, I believe in our Father God. Because they say the male ways are from the source of our Father God, a male type of God. And they say that the female ways of a female are from our mother God. Our mother God, a female type of God. And that what it means when they say one God, according to what my tribe teaches me, the one God is the one original marriage of where the ideal of marriage came from, of our Father God being married with our mother God. And the oneness of God started with the one marriage of our Father God being married with our mother God. The one marriage, the original marriage, the greatest marriage, you know, where the ideas came from. And they say, you know, my tribe followed the instructions of our Father God, and our Mother God, because of never having sex outside of the identity of what my marriage license certificate says my marriage is, you know? And, yes, being married, yes. So yes, that's what they said, that, they said that a husband is the gift for his own wife being married with him. The same way they say a wife is the gift for her own husband being married with her. Is what my tribe teaches. So there's no reason for being mad at me for being a witness of what my tribe teaches me. And that's why they say a gift is giving. When a couple claims being married, they say one is the husband and one is the wife, making a couple. One is the husband, one is the wife. The husband is the gift giving. The wife is the gift giving. And they say since the gift is giving, then the wife cannot be sold. The husband cannot be sold. The wife cannot be loaned. The husband cannot be loaned. The wife cannot be borrowed. The husband cannot be borrowed. The wife cannot be bought. The husband cannot be bought. The wife cannot be leased or sold. The husband cannot be leased or sold. And they say because being a gift the wife is the gift, the husband is the gift. Being a gift means costing no money. And having no contract. And having no non-disclosure act. And being the gift, the wife is the gift, the husband is the gift. They say, if someone gave a gift the gift is the property of the person the gift is given to. Which is why claiming being each other's property is very important, being a gift. They say the husband is the gift giving. The wife is the gift giving. Being each other's property because of being each other's gift. Giving each other themselves. Being gifts to each other. Being each other's property is what my tribe teaches of marriage. So there's no way of being mad at me for what my tribe teaches to me of what marriage means. Yes, they say when one person meets one person, sometimes one person says no and goes somewhere else. And sometimes when those types of situations happen, those types of situations are situations when they say someone else would say yes. And if both say yes, getting a marriage license certificate for evidence of being married, then a tribe is made because of a household of marriage being made for the married couple. The start of a marriage, you know? Yes, they say, yes, they say that being married means having evidence of a marriage. Is what my tribe teaches to me, you know. So there's no way of being mad at me for what my tribe teaches to me, you know. Where would marriage license certificates come from? A person would be the age of being old enough for having an identity of going to the courthouse and getting a marriage license certificate for being married. And I have a marriage license certificate myself from the year of 2004 as evidence of a marriage. And my marriage license certificate is the type of marriage license certificate where the age of 18 in the year of 2004 was the age of being old enough for having a marriage license certificate. Yes, in the year of 2004, the age old enough for having a marriage license certificate was 18 years old. And I have a marriage license certificate from the year of 2004 as evidence of a marriage. And my age was 20 years old the date of my marriage license certificate. What kind of identity or identification? Tribe. Oh, after having a marriage license certificate from the courthouse as evidence of a marriage and being married, they say a husband cannot claim being a husband, according to my tribe, unless the husband tells of those households he growed up inside of and tell if people claiming being his birth parents were sexually abusive to him or physically abusive to him, or if people claiming being his birth family were sexually abusive or physically abusive to him. And they say the reason for telling is because being married and being your own tribe caring about your own wife, if you are a husband, means telling your own wife if people claiming being your birth mom or your birth family were sexually abusive, or grown people having sex with a child, or children having sex with grown people, or if people claiming being your birth family, you know, had children or offspring born outside of the identity of a marriage license certificate, then telling the character of the household the husband growed up inside of means telling because of the love the husband has for his wife, because the husband loves his wife and then has his own tribe and would not be part of the sex crimes of a grown person having sex with a child, or children having sex with grown people, or having children born outside of the identity of a marriage license certificate, is what my tribe teaches me. Is why a husband would tell, even if it was his own mom or his own dad or his own sister or his own brother, or even if it was himself who had sex and a child born outside of the identity of a marriage license certificate. Even if it was himself who was a grown person having sex with a child, or his sister, or his brother, or his mom, or his dad, you know, a husband would tell, you know, according to what my tribe teaches me, you know. And it's the same way, you know, they say for a wife, according to what my tribe teaches me, a wife cannot claim being a wife unless the wife tells who claimed being her birth mom or her birth dad, you know, the person, the personality or the sexuality or the character of people claiming being the birth parents of the wife or the family of the wife, if those people from the households the wife growed up inside of was grown people having sex with a child, or children having sex with grown people, or, you know, people having sex with other people's husband, or people having sex with, you know, children. And if people had children born outside of a marriage license, certificate, identity of being married, you know, is all of, and so they say a wife would not be able of claiming being a wife unless the wife told all she knows of, if any of those types of sexualities was inside of the household she growed up inside of, you know. They say even if she was a grown person having sex with a child, or even if she was they say if it was her own mom who did it, or if it was her own dad who did it, or if it was a person who claimed being her mom, or if it was a person who claimed being her dad, if a person who claimed being her mom had sex with someone else's husband, a wife cannot claim being a wife unless she tells and has evidence of telling a person who claimed being her mom had sex with someone else's husband, or a person who claimed being her mom had sex and had a child born from more than one person. They say a wife cannot claim being a wife unless she tells where she came from, what she's made of, who she was born from, what kind of household she growed up inside of. And the reason they say that is because if it was her mom or her dad, or a person claiming being her mom, or a person claiming being her dad, or her friends or family, or people loving her, or people claiming being in love with her outside of her husband, then the wife would need evidence of the love. Meaning the wife would need evidence of loving her own husband and being his property, the property of her husband. The wife would need evidence of claiming being the property of her husband. The wife would need evidence of claiming being the gift for her husband. And the wife would need evidence of caring for her husband, because if the wife had a mom or a dad with the character of being a grown person having sex with a child, and then a wife with the character of caring for her own husband would not want her husband being associated with those people with the character of being grown people having sex with children, or children having sex with grown people, or people having sex with other people's husband or other people's wife. You know, because according to my tribe does not follow the practices of being a grown person having sex with a child, or children having sex with grown people, or having sex with someone's husband who is not the husband of the person having sex with each other. And my tribe does not follow the practice of having sex with the wife of someone else, you know, what it means is, they say a couple is one person meeting one person, making a couple, because of being a couple, being married, and then being a tribe. They say, it's what my tribe teaches to me. And the difference is because, you know, growing up, some households were households where a mom had sex with other people's husbands and had children born from different dads. And sometimes the same way a husband had sex with other people's wife and had children born from different people, you know. And I'm not interested in making anyone feel bad, so I'm not specifically talking about anyone. I'm just telling what my tribe taught me, being a witness of what my tribe teaches to me, which is why I never had sex outside of the identity of what my marriage license says my marriage is, you know. Because they say being a member of my tribe means there's no way of being a member if, you know, a person, you know, voluntarily had sex with someone else's husband or someone else's wife. You know, or if a person had a child born before the date of the marriage license certificate, if a couple is claiming being married to each other, you know, it's very strict. The tribe, you know, and it's the same way, which is why it's very important when one person meets one person. If you say yes, cling on. If you say no, they say then move on. Instead of wasting someone's time, you know. Which is why, you know, my tribe is the tribe of never making anyone into a single mom. My tribe is the tribe of never having sex outside of the identity of what my marriage license certificate says my marriage is, you know. And I follow the instructions of my tribe, you know. I told of doing the job of being a husband. I told people inside of the household that I grew up in, I was the youngest one inside of a household. People who claimed being my birth mom or my birth family did not seem the character of being my birth mom or my birth family, because I was sexually abused in elementary school in a house of what those people claimed was 4 brothers. And I was the youngest of the household. And I told in elementary school. I was sexually abused in elementary school, and I told in elementary school. And, you know, being a mental health patient in elementary school and telling of being sexually abused in elementary school, you know, there's no way of having one of those contracts or non-disclosure acts for me because of all of the evidence of being a mental health patient way before, you know, now, you know. And the reason why I'm saying this is because when I was in middle school and elementary school and high school, some of the girls, you know, I'm not specifically naming anyone's name, so there's no reason for being mad at me for being a witness of what my tribe teaches to me. They say some of the girls, you know, well, you probably don't know them because I don't know them. Those people are strangers. I don't know them. So there's no reason for being mad at me. But they say some of those strangers, when I was in elementary school, middle school, and high school, was children having sex with grown people because of being with grown people having sex with children, and because of them strangers being interested in being famous and being rich and having a lot of what I don't have. And they say a lot of strangers signed contracts and non-disclosure acts and did it for money and stuff and did what I never did. I usually wear the same clothes every day because I never signed a non-disclosure act. I didn't have all of the money those other strangers had. I never had sex outside of the identity of my marriage license certificate. I never had sex with those supermodels or flying. I never flied on those jet planes, or I never had trips at those beaches or those mansion houses, parties and stuff. I never had the, you know, the $1 million necklaces and the $100,000 rings and stuff. So, you know, they say when those people, those strangers signed those non-disclosure acts and those people had all of that sex and spent all of that money and owed back more than could ever be paid, it's not my fault and it's not because of me. They say growing up, sometimes in elementary school, high school, and middle school, sometimes even when the person grown, some people would look at people and, you know, some strangers would look at people and say, and have the idea of rather being with a rich person, you know, and signing a non-disclosure act and getting a lot of money and having a lot of sex, and would end up trapped in a non-disclosure act from having all of the money and all of the sex, and from not being a mental health patient and having no way out of the contract because those strangers were not mental health patients ever since elementary school. So, you know, they say it's not my problem and it's not my fault because I never spent any of the money with those strangers. I never had any of the sex with any of those strangers. Me being here in this room wearing the same clothes every day, you know, and all of the times being beat up and stuff, you know. I'm just glad I'm not suicidal, you know. So, you know, I don't know those strangers who signed those non-disclosure acts. I don't know those strangers or those people who spent all of that money and had all of those clothes and had sex with all of those famous people. I don't know those strangers or what any of them would be crying about. They say those people don't, they say those people cannot cheat. After living the life of having all of that money and all of that sex and doing all of that stuff, those people signed contracts, those strangers signed contracts and made problems for themselves because of them choosing fame and the wrong kind of being rich and the wrong kind of sex, and, you know, from not being a mental health patient telling the truth. Is what my tribe teaches me of staying out of it, you know. So, you know, I don't have any experience in any of those non-disclosure acts or the stuff those other people did, those strangers, you know. So, yes. My tribe teaches me doing the job of being a husband means first saying, who is your mom? Who is your dad? Who is the people who claim being your birth parents or your birth family? You know, have those people been sexually abusing you? Are those people from the same tribe? And I say, no. Those people are strangers who claim being my birth family and birth dad or birth parents and stuff like that, you know. And the reason why they are strangers is because, you know, those people are strangers and are not part of the tribe of saving virginity for the purpose of being married. The tribe of never having sex outside of the identity of what my marriage license certificate says my marriage is, you know. Because I don't even understand why anyone, you know, going to a church being told save your virginity for the purpose of being married. I don't know why anyone would have had sex anyway after being told save your virginity for the purpose of being married. I saved my virginity for the purpose of being married and never had sex outside of the identity of what my marriage license certificate says my marriage is. As you say, is it the same for a wife? Yes. What my tribe teaches is it's the same for a wife. A person cannot claim being a wife, according to my tribe, if a person is not telling, you know, if Her mom had sex with more than one person. Her mom had sex with someone else's husband. Her mom had children by different people. Her mom had sex with her own brother or her own dad, or a person claiming being her brother or her dad. You know, it's stuff that a person would have to say, you know, claiming being married or part of my tribe if, you know, a person had a mom with those characters of those types of sexualities. Because, you know, my tribe teaches me there's no way of getting in trouble for the sex someone else had. If a person had a mom who had sex with her own brother and had sex with her own child, there's no way of getting in trouble for the sex a mom had with her own child, or the sex a mom had with her own brother or her own dad. The mom herself would get in trouble for having sex with her own dad. The mom herself would get in trouble for having sex with her own son. The mom herself would get in trouble, you know, for having sex with someone else's husband. But if the child voluntarily lied and did not tell what their mom did, then the child of the mom who did not tell would be in trouble with the mom, because the child lied for the mom and the child did not tell the truth about what the mom did. So the child would be in trouble and not part of my tribe, because, you know, what my tribe teaches me is if a person claims being your own mom, your own dad, your own family, and the person had the wrong kind of sex, whether it was a grown person having sex with a child, a person having sex with a sister or brother, a person, you know, selling sex or selling brides or husbands, or trading husbands or brides, or loaning husbands or brides, or borrowing husbands or brides, you know, stuff like that, then a wife cannot be a wife unless a wife first tells all of the bad crimes a wife knows that her mom did, and that she knows that her dad did, and that she knows that her family did. If a wife does not tell any of the crimes, then the person claiming being the wife would be part of the tribe of those who did the crimes and not part of my tribe, because I am not interested in getting in trouble for the crimes other tribes did, you know. So there's no reason for being mad at me for what my tribe teaches me of staying out of trouble and not being involved, you know, with being part, you know, I am not part of the crimes other tribes did, you know. And since I am not naming any names of any specific tribes, then there's no reason for being mad at me, you know. So, you know. Yes. Yes, I seen a lot of videos on the internet, watching videos, and yeah, they say that it's people, it's strangers who decided going with strangers claiming being rich or famous and stuff, and strangers, and voluntarily gave themselves into contracts and non-disclosure acts for money and fame, and became property of those people, and it's not my fault. So if any of them was crying, or any of those strangers was crying, or claiming being victims in videos and stuff, then it's not the same, because those people, those strangers, did way more than I did, meaning those strangers do not have the character of saving their virginity for the purpose of being married. And those strangers are from a different tribe. And I don't bother them. I'm not mean to them. And I'm not interested in hurting them or making them feel bad. The point is,